My name is Issa Moni.
And I'm Natalie Fort. Let's take a look at our headlines for the next hour. Due to non-payment. Tullow Oil hints it will carry out another round of Jubilee shutdowns in the next half of this year.
And later in international news, North Korea ballistic missile test sparks international condemnation.
We have the details of these stories as well as the very latest in sports and entertainment in the next hour. Stay tuned. Let's take a look at stories in the health sector. Non-payment of national health insurance has forced some health centers in the Ga South municipality to withdraw from the scheme in 2016. Others which remain on the scheme have to rely solely on their meager internally generated funds to sustain their operations, leaving them indebted to the regional stores and other suppliers.
English Yaman From Health Centre alone has uncleared NHIS claims of 349,219 cedis. Total NHIS services rendered by the facility in 2016 amounted to 496,374 cedis, out of which the scheme refunded only 147,134 cedis.
Support.
Still in health, a former Director General of the Ghana Health Service, Professor Agyemang Badu Akosa, has urged government to invest 2% of the country's GDP into research. This, he said, will enable the scientific community leverage research findings into innovative technology to improve the livelihood of Ghanaians.
Professor Agyemang Badu Akosa made this known at the annual research meeting of the Noguchi Memorial Institute for Medical Research. The meeting provided a platform for interaction among medical researchers and the scientific community to help control diseases of public health concern. Diseases of public health concern are a threat and costly for national development. The aim of the meeting was therefore to make research findings beyond the laboratory for the development of new and improved control tools. Former Director General of the Ghana Health Service, Professor Agyemang Badu Akosa, urged the Noguchi Memorial Institute for Medical Research to present its scientific findings to policymakers for implementation.
How come the Noguchi Memorial Institute for Medical Research has not engaged the Speaker? That we want Parliament to know the work that we do here. We are scientists.
Away from that, Ghana may for the second time miss the targets for the Sustainable Development Goal 6 on water and sanitation if the country's policy direction on community-led total sanitation is not revised. This was revealed by a sanitation program officer with WaterAid Ghana, Aisha Araba Etru.
Ghana made strides in terms of accessibility to water at the end of the 2050 Millennium Development Goals as the country achieved more than the target set for the MDG. However, the country fell short in sanitation targets, which necessitated the implementation of the community-led total sanitation policy to mobilize communities to completely eliminate open defecation. But stakeholders in water and sanitation argued the burden of constructing latrines by communities hampered the eradication of open defecation, especially when residents have little or no technical know-how and also without income to support the construction.
Some members of parliament have bemoaned the disregard for road traffic regulations leading to accidents. They want road traffic and motor regulations enforced and stiffer sanctions meted out to offenders, particularly those who blatantly refuse to use footbridges.
Presenting a statement on the floor of Parliament, member for Afija-Sechere East, Mavis Nkansa-Boadu regretted the number of lives lost through road crashes due to disregard for road traffic regulations.
I therefore propose the law prohibiting the Okada drivers be either removed or unions should be formed. There should be sensitization of the public through an entertainment jingle or commercial to instill in them the value of life and the need to use footbridges.
Other members supported the statement.
The easiest way a pregnant woman would reach a hospital.
Let's now turn attention to the education sector. The contractor working on the Pearl Bay Community Day Senior High School in the Salaga North District of the Northern Region has abandoned the project to its fate. 3news.com gathered that the contractor Hatwum Construction, located in Tamale, was on Thursday, February 9, 2017, seen packing molded blocks meant for the construction of the school into a truck. Assemblyman for the Park Bay electoral area, Anas Karim, revealed the structure, which commenced late 2016, was abandoned at the foundation level, but said the contractor said no mobilization fee was provided for the start of the project. When contacted on phone, the project manager confirmed the non-payment of funds but denied parking blocks and equipments. The Park Bay Community Day Senior High School is among projects commenced by the past National Democratic Congress in the East Gonja district.
You're on News 360, and let's now have a look at what's still to come tonight. Round of Jubilee shutdowns in the next half of this year.
Market filth still persists despite several cleanup interventions.
The details of those stories and more coming up when we return.
Take a look at some business news now. Tullow Oil has indicated that it will carry out another round of Jubilee shutdowns in the next half of this year, which is expected to help the oil exploration firm to complete work on the Jubilee turret bearing. In February 2016, an issue with the turret bearing of the Jubilee FPSO Kwame Nkrumah was identified, resulting in the need to implement new operating and offtake procedures. The first phase of work involving the installation of a stern anchoring system is expected to be completed in February 2017, after which the tugs maintaining the FPSO on heading control will no longer be required. Work is expected to be carried out in the second half of 2017, with an anticipated facility shutdown of up to 12 weeks. Away from business, the newly created Ministry of Water and Sanitation would have to put in place punitive measures to ensure market centres and bus stations are kept clean. The Tema station Accra, for instance, has been engulfed with filth and is gradually turning into a dumping site.
For many, it may no longer be news regarding filth at market centres and transport yards in Accra. On Sunday at the Tema Station bus terminal, the foul stench that welcomed the new steam was unbearable, and one wonders how commercial drivers here are able to manage the situation.
This is where refuse from other suburbs of Accra are dumped, and it takes days for it to be cleared.
Very big station,
this heap of garbage you see right behind me, we understand has been here since yesterday, and it's likely to be here till probably midday tomorrow before the agency in charge, that is the Accra Metropolitan Assembly, comes in to pick them up. We were compelled to enter the station to look at the situation. Here the story was no different. This waste collector had been here like this for days. Drivers expressed disappointment at the Accra Metropolitan Assembly, particularly when they have been made to pay a daily levy of 3 cedis each per driver.
Still on education, the Executive Director of Human Rights Education Africa, Clement Kadogbe, has appealed to the Education Ministry to conduct structural audits of all basic schools across the country. The move is to avert any possible deaths and injuries occasioned by the collapse of school buildings in the pursuit of the right to education by school children.
Ago, the tragic collapse of the Methodist Basic School in Breman Jamra led to the loss of the lives of 6 pupils who were trying to exercise their rights to education. The Human Rights Education Africa says several of such structures that exist across the country endanger the lives of pupils and teachers and should be given a facelift. Its Executive Director, Clemens Kadogbe, appealed to the Education Ministry to conduct a structural audit of all basic schools across the country.
Take a look at the buildings, basic school buildings across the country. Do a structural audit to see if they are fit for purpose. They are not buildings that if there is a little storm or wind, it collapses on our precious children, like it happened in Breman Jamra. That incident, to me or to us at Human Rights Education Africa, we think it was a preventable death.
He said his office is ready to offer any assistance to help conduct the audit across the various regions.
Investing in education infrastructure is quite expensive, but when you make it public, people know you are likely to get funding from other concerned individuals and organizations. In our own small way, we will also look for funding to help where necessary, but we will continue to play the advocacy role that education, basic education, must be free, compulsory, and available to the child.
Clemens Kadogbe further urged the government to allocate funding to put up modern structures for areas where pupils study in dilapidated structures, as was in the case of the Millennium City School project.
You're on News 360, and Thierry Nyane is around, and so will be sports when we return from the break. The Ghana Premier League has kicked off some results, interesting ones from the EPL as well. Stick and stay, we'll be back in a moment.
Time now for entertainment news. From dancing mothers-to-be to photo opportunities with music legends, let's find out what's been happening in the world of entertainment.
Saturday, February 11 marked the 5th anniversary of the death of the legendary Whitney Houston, and one artist took it upon herself to mark the day in a most remarkable way. Ciara paid tribute to the pop icon with a well-choreographed video that featured, of course, her baby bump, husband Seattle Seahawks quarterback Russell Wilson, and even her son, future Zaire. Known as one of the best female dancers in Hollywood, it came as no surprise that even with the protruding baby bump, Ciara was able to bust some moves. The video, which was posted on Ciara's Instagram and Facebook pages, begins in Ciara's kitchen, where the R&B singer lip-syncs Whitney's cover of I Am Every Woman from the Bodyguard soundtrack. For a heavily pregnant 31-year-old, Cece did not hold back so much. Now let's take a look at that leap again. Wow! The video has garnered almost 2 million views in barely 24 hours on Instagram.
Right, more exciting programs coming up right after the news, and that is Bridges of Love.
Bridges of Love.
Yes, so what can you tell us about it?
Well, it's premiering today,
right,
but I've had the opportunity to have a sneak peek into it. I must say it's very interesting. There are these two young boys who grew up together in the slums, very poor, and they're adopted by a wealthy man.
Ooh.
And they use the money, one of them uses the money very negatively to buy women and many other things. Doesn't go too well with it, but it teaches us a lot on love and on success and how to handle wealth.
All right, this is something you cannot miss. Coming up right after the news on TV3. Thank you for watching News 360 tonight. My name is Isa Moni.
And I'm Natalie Fort. Enjoy the rest of your evening.
Bridges of Love coming up right after the news.